samantalang 17 individual na ang kanilang naaresto.
Metro Manila Development Authority o MMDA ang No Contact Apprehension Policy o NCAP sa Metro Manila.
Sa ilang mga dokumento ay peke. Hindi rin legal ang employment na ipinangako sa kanila.
Sa mata ng batas, mananagot ang sangkot at may sala. Dahil sa bawat paglabag, may karampatang parusa. Alamin ang mga pananagutan sa likod ng mga bawal. Dito sa Hoy! Bawal Yan! Tuwing Sabado, alas 11:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa DZRH TV.
Tumunog na ang gandingan para sa kalikasan. Ang nagkamit ng parangal bilang Best News Anchor ay walang iba kundi si Angelo Palmones ng Magandang Umaga Pilipinas, DZRH Radio 666 kHz.
Magandang araw mga kaibigan. Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Makuhay Lizalde, na nag-aanyaya sa inyong samahan kami at ang aming mga espesyal na panauhin para sa kalahating oras ng masayang kwentuhan sa aming programang Art to Art, kung saan ang usapang sining at kultura ay para sa lahat. Huwag kaliligtaan, tuwing linggo, alas 3:30 ng hapon, dito lamang sa DZRH Radio, DZRH TV, at via online streaming.
Curious ka ba sa maraming bagay? Kami na ang bahala dyan. Aalamin, tutuklasin at bibigyang linaw namin ang mga katanungang bumabagabag sa inyong isipan. Sa programa kung saan ang bawat sagot ay galing lamang sa mga eksperto. Ang Expert's Opinion, tuwing linggo alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa DZRH TV.
Good vibes ang hanap mo? Dito ka na sa sigurado! Mula sa mga istoryang nagbibigay ng inspirasyon hanggang sa mga kwentong may dalang solusyon. Mga balitang pampagaan, pakiramdam at pampaganda ng araw. Hindi lang ba sa good news, kundi the better news. Mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 ng tanghali sa DZRH TV.
Tuloy-tuloy ang pagtulong, tuloy-tuloy ang pagseserbisyo at tuloy-tuloy ang balitaan kasama si May Binauhan sa Operation Tulong mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Nakarinig lang ako ng bola sa court, takbo na ako dun sa... Sobrang grateful ko nung time na yon, dream come true para sa akin. So sa isip ko lang nun, di ko to sasayangin. Dream ko to eh. Tapos yun na din, nakakatulong na ako sa family ko. Kasi ako lang din yung breadwinner eh. Ako yung panganay. Tapos nasa college pa yung mga kapatid ko. Yun ang tulong-tulong lang din sa kanila. Pero ngayong conference, yun mas dodoblehin pa namin ang trabaho namin. Hi, I'm JB Bahio from NLEX Road Warriors. Panoorin ang aking interview sa Match Point. Mabuhay ang atletang Pilipino.
Kuya Angel po si Angelo Palmono sa giiwan sa inyo na isang magandang umaga. Maraming salamat.
Life goes on!
Nine, good morning, Lakay.
Good morning, Sister
At good morning.
Magandang mainit na umaga.
Kuya Angel po si Angelo Palmono sa giiwan sa inyo na isang magandang umaga. Maraming
Sa
salamat.
Pilipinas, una sa Pilipino. This Saturday on Scene Zone, chikahan with indie darling Clara Benin at rewinded tayo sa Senti Feels na hatid ng kanyang Really Got Me Thinking concert. At kilalanin ang US OPM girl group na May May, humandang ma-LSS sa kanilang debut single na Telebong. Alas 12 ng tanghali, dito lang sa DZRH TV.
Maagang balitaan, maagang usapan sa mga issue at balita. Kasama si Kuya Angelo Palmones sa Magandang Umaga Pilipinas. Mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Duterte is present in this meeting. Today, in this hearing today, the respondent is not present.
Let it be placed on record that COMSEC called again the Vice President, that is for the purpose of giving her the opportunity to present her evidence.
The impeachment is a process that seeks to exact accountability. It can be political, it can also be an instrument where the majority can use that power to exact revenge.
Gusto nyong palitan ang Senate President kasi gusto nyo tuloy-tuloy na yung impeachment.
Actually, kinontradict niya yung sarili niya kasi nung na-elect siya na Senate President, sabi niya tuloy ang impeachment. Yung mga pro-ERAP noong impeachment trial sa Senado, they were punished during the next midterm election. So may ano yun naiisip din ng mga senador yun.
Mga balitang gigising sa inyong umaga. Mga balitang kailangan mong malaman. Mapapakinggan sa ACS Balita sa 2x2. Kasama sina Anthony Taberna at Jerry Baha. Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Alamin ang mga maiinit na isyung
Kalantad sa init. Love you na.
Colonel Vlad Mata, dating city administrator.
Isang paalat.
In fact, nangunguna sa mga local government units in the past, but he occupies a very sensitive position sa Commission on Appointments. Ngayon sa Senado, Commission on Appointments. Colonel Vlad Mata, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Good morning. At ipapakilala din natin ang ating guest at panelist sa talakayang ito, ang former
lagi nakatutok sa Pilipinas. Nakakapagtaka nga bakit lahat ng pagsasanay, kung sakalit magkakaroon ng kaguluhan, bakit sa Pilipinas ginagawa? It's because of the first island chain concept.
Alright, Colonel Len?
Well, gusto ko rin susugan yung sinasabi nila at siguro ibabato na rin natin sa ating mga expert ngayon. Bukod sa pagiging konsepto na ito, tatanungin rin natin, estratehiya rin ba ito sa ating bansa or doon sa ating mga alliance partners, no? Kaya it's not only a concept but also a strategy. So gusto natin tanungin din yung ating mga panelists from the Armed Forces of the Philippines kasi nga sabi nga ni Secretary, hindi pwedeng tanggalin yung Pilipinas doon sa usapin ng first island chain kasi meron pa rin tong second island chain, may third island chain. So ano yung strategic role o strategic value ng Pilipinas doon sa first island chain na konsepto at estratehiya? Siguro sa AFP at saka mamaya sa ating Commodore sa PMM.
Well, basically, as sinabi nga po natin, sir, na nasa center nga po tayo ng discussion na ito. For the Armed Forces of the Philippines, sir, tinitignan natin dyan as a strategy how we would navigate national security concerns. But kung titignan nyo siya, sir, this goes beyond security discussions. Kasama na din dito, sir, yung usapin sa economic implications nitong usaping ito. And of course, meron din tayong environmental issues dito, sir, no? Specifically because the Philippines also is facing so much issues then on HADR operations on our side because very prone tayo sa mga natural disasters. So ito pong first island chain na usapin ito, may kasamang usapin yan pati sa plastic waste, sir, and those things, no? So very broad na topic ito and goes beyond security lang. But of course, being the representative from the Armed Forces of the Philippines, this is part of the strategy in a sense that we will have contingency measures that are in place for any eventuality, sir.
Alright, bago tayo mag-commercial break, Mr. Commodore.
Yes, sir.
Commodore Joven, sabi ni Colonel Padilla, hindi lang ito security thing, it's an economic thing. Pero yung maritime dimension, anong ibig sabihin ito para sa inyo?
Yes, Secretary. Actually, I first encountered the term first island chain way back in 1995, I think. The first island chain was conceptualized by a military strategist to contain the spread of communism. This year, I encountered naman when I was I read an unclassified report from the Department of War, United States. It was issued by the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, where this first island chain, actually it runs from the north of Japan, the sea between Kuril and Japan, down to Tsushima Strait, Chugaro Strait, or Chugaro Kaikyo, and Miyako Strait. But for the Philippines, ang concern natin dito ay yung ating Balintang Channel, the Bashi, or the Luzon Strait. Because these two straits are actually areas na may malalim na lugar where if you wanted to contain enemies or submarine or warships, they can easily pass through kung hindi natin sila babantayan. I think that's the reason why the archipelagic sea lane was enacted. And another that, aside from that, these are the choke points in the Philippines. Itong sa Luzon Strait, yun nga yung Balintang and Bashi Strait. Also yung Sibutu Channel at saka yung sa Basilan Strait. These are the areas na kailangan bantayan ng Pilipinas.
Alright,
in the areas po ng maritime. Kasi if you look at the maritime, ang Philippines is the biggest supplier of seafarers. But if you look at the number of seafarers na yun, we have 400,000 seafarers. And out of that 400,000, if we pinpoint China, yung vessel of Chinese vessel, there are around 8 to 12% na pag-aari ng China. And that is around may mga Filipino seafarers tayo dyan, which numbers around 30,000 to 45,000.
Sa Chinese fleet?
Sa Chinese fleet. Owned, operated. Commercial. Ang ating main concern dyan ay kung halimbawa magkaroon ng crisis.
Alright.
Sa choke point, di ba?
Alright, sa ating pagbabalik, magkakaroon ba ng crisis? tingnan natin kung ano ang pagtansya na kung ano ang pagkaunawa ng Armed Forces of the Philippines at ilang experts na kasama natin ngayon. Kakaroon ba ng krisis? Sa latest kasi ng mga reports ng Reuters and international press, hindi most likely yung physical confrontation but other forms. But tingnan natin ano ang latest mula sa kanila. Samantala, back to studio muna tayo sa DZRH Radio.
Tumunog na ang gandingan para sa kalikasan. Ang itinanghal bilang Best AM Radio Program Host ay si CESAR CHAVEZ para sa special on Saturday ng DZRH.
Wow, ang saya. Isang barangay na labada, puro mancha pa. Goodbye, pahinga.
Mommy, isang laba lang yan sa Pride Bar Blue. May powerful stain-away enzymes na malupit sa dunit mancha.
At di masakit sa kamay. Isang laba lang yan. Hello, pahinga. Hello, Pride Bar Blue. ACS.
Ang galing-galing mo, Smart dishwashing paste ko, pritong ulam na masebo, plato ng kaldero, tanggaling for everyday.
Ganyan, pag smart ang dishwashing paste, may double tanggaling formula. Tanggal ang sebo, tanggal ang bakterya.
Pahit para walang bahid, linis fantastic sa metal at plastic, number one ko to. Tanggaling-galing mo, Smart dishwashing paste. ACS.
Sa lahat ng bagay, simula pa lang, siguraduhing max protection na. Kasi pag kulang ang proteksyon, baka madaling masira. Sa ngipin, dapat may max protection din. Max sa alaga ng unique toothpaste. With Max Protect Formula, help stop cavities before they start, while keeping breath fresh. Try unique maximum fluoride protection. Para max alaga, max protektado.
ACS.
Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful!
How you spend your morning can often tell you what kind of day you are going to have. Me, I always start my day with a fresh cup of my favorite MX3 coffee.
Mahalagang maalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful!
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa!
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at malupit na dumit mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon. All you need is pride. All you need is pride. ACS.
May nagbago. May arte. May budget. Akala nyo lang yon.
So solid. White rose papaya, wow, white rose. White rose papaya, wow, white rose. White rose papaya. May glow up with white rose papaya.
White rose papaya. May puti power times 2 kasi may papaya at niacinamide. May shea butter and tea tree oil pa. Kutis sulit ang glow up.
Glow up with white rose papaya.
White rose papaya. Kutis sulit ang glow up.
ACS.
Tumunog na ang gandingan para sa kalikasan. Ang itinanghal.
Ito ay
ay bunsod ng naitalang 17 individual na ang kanilang naaresto.
Metro Manila Development Authority o MMDA ang No Contact Apprehension Policy o NCAP sa Metro Manila.
Sa ang ilang mga dokumento ay peke. Hindi rin legal ang employment na ipinangako sa kanila.
Sa mata ng batas, mananagot ang sangkot at may sala. Dahil sa bawat paglabag, may karampatang parusa. Alamin ang mga pananagutan sa likod ng mga bawal. Dito sa Hoy! Bawal Yan! Tuwing Sabado, alas 11:30 ng umaga.
Tumunog na ang gandingan para sa kalikasan. Ang nagkamit ng parangal bilang Best News Anchor ay walang iba kundi si Angelo Palmones ng Magandang Umaga Pilipinas, DZRH Radio 666 kHz.
Sa ating NDCP Alumni Defense Forum, yung mga regular listeners natin, radio, television, and YouTube, wala akong visibility para makita yung comments ninyo yun. Mamaya, ibigay sa atin yung comments ninyo at mga tanong sa YouTube channel natin, sa Facebook channel natin. But anyway, kanina, napag-usapan yung First Island Chain, at nandun tayo sa posibleng pangyayari, yung mababa ng PRC, People's Republic of China, and Taiwan. Doon tayo nabitin. Bago sa tanong ni Commander Jerry, si Colonel Franz Padilla, spokesperson ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, tanongin natin, ano ba titingin ng Armed Forces ngayon? As of this day, as of yesterday, magkakaroon ba ng physical na konfrontahan ng China at Taiwan at Beijing? At ano ang pagtingin ninyo? Kailan mangyayari ito kung ito ay mangyayari?
Well, sa side po ng Sandatang Lakas ng Pilipinas, sir, we view all of this as non-speculative. Ang AFP po talaga, as it is our mandate and it is our role to protect our sovereignty, our sovereign rights, preparedness po yung key for us. So, in any eventuality po, we have already the contingency plans that are in place, and we have come up with a comprehensive archipelagic defense concept. So, yung tatawag natin CADC na yan, sir, we have reviewed, yun nga, itong strategic na position natin in this, sa usapin na ito. And sa CADC, sir, nandyan yung paglagay natin ng strategic bases to salient points. So, yung nabanggit, sir, kanina, na-identify natin ano yung mga salient points na to. Thus, we will be, putting up bases here. Kasama dyan yung usapin sa EDCA sites, nandyan sa CADC yan, nandyan, sir, yung pag-add natin ng additional forces. So, we are recruiting so much additional personnel for the AFP. And, of course, yung paglawig nitong reserve forces natin as force multipliers, nandyan siya lahat, sir. And kasama din po dito yung modernization. And ito, sir, kumonekta siya pati sa mga batas na nilalabas sa ngayon, sir. So, kung makikita niyo po, may pinirmahan ng ating Pangulo, yun pong revitalize self-reliance defense posture, kumonekta to sa modernization natin, sir. And we are also heightening and pinapalawin din po natin yung alliances natin with like-minded nations and well-meaning nations. So, kung makikita niyo, sir, napakadami nating partnerships na pinipirmahan ngayon with the SOVAs, with different countries. Kasi, sir, we also have an RAA with Japan because we all share the same sentiment and the same goal, that is to maintain a free and open Indo-Pacific.
All right. Again, in summary, yung First Island Chain, yung kung ano yung madalas nating makikita, Japan, Taiwan, at Pilipinas, of course may iba pang bansa. Ang isang issue ko kasi sa First Island Chain, paano kung nangyari itong confrontation at yung speculation na baka makuha nila ang Taiwan, ano ang mangyayari sa concept nito ay the strategies and concept of operations ng defense and security sa geopolitics dito sa era nito. Pero dating Defense Secretary, bago sa tanong ni Commodore Jerry, former Defense Secretary Bert Gonzales, mangyayari ba to? Itong napakaraming mga balita, local and international, especially in Asia-Pacific region, mangyayari ba ito? Physical bakbakan ng Taipei?
Well, maganda yung issue that dapat we are always prepared. No? So we anticipate the worst that can happen. But I think there are a few things that we can review. No? For example, yung sinabi ng ating former ambassador, Chito Santa Romana. He was stationed in China and he lived there for decades. No? So
Even before becoming a diplomat.
Before becoming a diplomat.
He understands China.
And you know why. You know why. That is why, to me, his words are very important. No? Sinabi niyang una, ang China ayaw ng gera. Pero, kapag teritoryo ang pinag-uusapan, it is prepared to go to war. Yun ang sinabi na lagi kong tinatandaan sa sinabi ni Chito Santa Romana, our former ambassador in the China. Number two, yun na nadinig ko kanina na umuugo na next year is the 100 years anniversary of the Communist Party of China. Ang pangako ng partido na yan, kukunin nila ang Taiwan in their 100th year anniversary, and that's next year. So pangalawang puntos yan. Pangatlo, talaga namang kung titignan natin ang posisyon ng ating hinaharap na possible enemy, ay gusto ditong maging world power. Mahirap maging world power yan kung hindi makakarating sa Pacific region. Kaya kailangan mapasok yan. And kung talagang titignan natin ang economic interest ng ating kakompetensya dito sa mundo na part ng daigdig, the Benham Rise is a very tempting possibility. Kaya nga isa dapat nating pag-uusapan, abalang-abala tayo sa West Philippine Sea, we better secure the Benham Rise. Kailangan tingnan natin mabuti ang ating Eastern Seaboard. Anong paghahanda ang ginagawa natin dyan? Dahil dyan patungo yan. Yan ang objective, economically speaking. Kaya hanggang ngayon, minarkahan na ba natin yung Benham Rise? O, meron ba nagpapatrol dyan? Yung sinabi mo kanina, yung Sibuto at saka yung isa pa, dalawa. Dapat binabantayan niya because these are alternatives too.
Alright. Sabi ng mga nakaraang national security advisors, parang may consensus sila from Goles to Anio. Sabi ng mga national security advisors, we must be able to read the mindset of China.
Very good.
Yung mindset ng China, amin yan, Taiwan. South China Sea, that's not a West Philippine Sea, that's a South China Sea, that is ours. No? Except that, mas matindi yung, mas pagnanasa na face saving na sa kanila ang Taiwan, kaysa, nandun pa rin yung energy nila at sustain pa rin doon sa WPS. Pero between the two, mukhang nandun nakataya kanilang mukha. At sa Chinese, China mindset, importante yung mukha. Commodore Jerry?
Yes, Doc Cesar. Speaking of perspective, pagdating po sa pananaw ng China, nakikita nila yung first island chain. Ngayon, ang tanong, ito po ang tanong, where is the weakest link of the chain? Sa pananaw po ba nila, ito yung Pilipinas? Could anyone...
that's a good question. Yes. Kasi yung center of gravity sa nako.
Baliktad din natin, Doc Cesar, yung pananaw. Yun ang pinag-uusapan natin. Let's think like China. Nasaan po ang weakest link?
Sige, based on existing literature, siguro si Colonel or ano?
Yeah, please.
Siguro ako. Sa tingin ko...
Just a quick answer on that.
I think ang Pilipinas ang nasa weakest link. One, among the members in the first island chain, tayo ang still developing military at ang capability. And we need to look at the gap of yung ating mga use of auxiliaries para masuportahan. In case na magkaroon ng pressure dyan, are we ready with our supplies, fuel, food, security, and so on?
Logistics.
And the logistics. Also, the number of seafarers on board the vessel of Chinese vessel. Kung yan na yung mga seafarers natin na nakasakay ng European and American vessels, walang problema yan. Kapag nagkaroon ng gulo dyan, makakababa sila sa mga neutral ports. But kung yan ay nakasakay sa adversarial ships na active, Chinese vessels, pag nagkaroon ng embargo, kasama mga seafarers natin na hindi makakababa, magkakaroon ng malaking hurdle sa legal, repatriation, and at the same time, mga safety. So, Philippines is in the most weakest link ng first island chain.
Sa mga kabubukas pa lamang ng radyo at telebisyon, yung nagsalita ho ay si Commodore Joel Abutado. Siya ho ang namumuno ng Philippine Merchant Marine Academy ano ho yan, kumbaga may PhD yan on maritime seafarers and in industry. So naiintindihan niya ito from the concept of both economic and military. Pero si Colonel Padilla, ano ang sinasabi sa white paper if not official documents? Mayroon bang do we admit na ang Pilipinas sa first island chain, officially or unofficially or even on the white paper, may nababasa ba kayo that the Philippines is the weakest link?
Well, sa mga nilabas na mga think tanks natin dyan, sir. So, nababanggit nila, sir, yung capabilities ng Philippines. But if you look at this in a bigger perspective, ang sabi ko nga, sir, it's just not a military issue. There's commerce, there's energy issue, may climate dyan, sir, no, over and above the security issue. So, if you look at it, sir, on different perspectives, we are well on our way with the CADC nga, sir, no? We have acknowledged what we need to work on. So that's why we are modernizing, and our alliances is actually not to be dependent on different countries, but to be able to be independent. So to be capacitated. Yan yung goal natin, sir. That's what we're leading into. So that's how we perceive this, sir. There are certain domains, kasi yung battlefield natin, sir, nag-evolve na siya eh. From the kinetic, we have a non-kinetic side of things. And at this point in time, we are saying that we are already at war in the information domain. And dun sa ganung usapin, sir, lumalaban po tayo dyan. So, nandyan, sir, yung cyber din issue, no? So, from kinetic, non-kinetic, nandyan yung cyberspace, nandyan yung information space, and the cognitive space.
Alright. Colonel, marami nakikinig sa atin, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, at marami tayo mga mangingisda at mga magsasaka. Pag sinabi natin kinetic and non-kinetic, ano ito?
Yung kinetic, sir, yan yung traditional na iniisip natin na warfare, no? So, yun yung land, air, and sea.
Big Moro, Rick Jason.
Yes, sir. So, very heavy on...
Pearl Harbor, yung mga ganun.
Yes, sir. Very heavy on equipment. And so, ang iniisip niya dyan, mga eroplano, mga barko, guns, mga yan, sir. No? With the non-kinetic side of things, andyan po yung information domain.
And you're saying we are already at war in information domain.
Yes, sir. No? So, ngayon, ang sinasabi natin, hindi lang po Pilipinas, but halos lahat ng bansa, sir, ang malaking problema is the proliferation of fake news.
Alright.
No?
So, we are already at war in information domain, at war against within or outside?
Andyan na yan, sir, no? It's a mix na po ng so there's propaganda that's coming out. And how do we counter? Yes, sir, no? We counter talaga itong misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And ito, sir, transcends to the cognitive domain, the battle of the mindsets. Kasi, sir, pag na-shape mo yung certain mindset, it will also affect the behavior. So, pupunta siya sa physical domain. How do they react? Because of the mindset that they have.
Gusto ko lang susugan din yung sinasabi ni Colonel Padilla. Ito yung sa parang deterrence by denial, no? Hardening of for the kinetic and non-kinetic. Kaya't nakita din natin may mga white paper din na lumalabas na sinasabi Indonesia ang weakest link actually. Bakit? Because alam ng AFP yan, ang Indonesia medyo naglalaro sa doon sa kalaban.
Not because of naval power. Not because of naval power. Marami tayong mga Filipino soldiers na ang kanilang ay nasa Indonesia, di ba?
Exactly.
Marami tayong mga pinupulos ng mga Navy sa kanila.
Not
necessarily because of the naval power, but because of
probably yung hindi nila sa kabila, no? Hindi ko masabi kung pwedeng sabihin yun, but yung kanilang pakikipagkaibigan doon sa ating ngayon, kinakaharap ng malaking bansa. At sa punto naman natin, alam na natin na we need that support, alliance, para mas patindihin yung sinasabing weakest link. That explains why we are not the weakest link na sinasabi. Na-explain na rin ni Colonel Padilla. No? Dahil sa ating alliance building, sa ating pag-harden ng ating mga equipment and all. But yung isa naman, nandun kasi sa dulo yun yung sa first island chain from Japan to Borneo to Indonesia. Dito mukhang hindi ata sumasama dun sa usapin, no, na aktibong sumusuporta.
Sige, sa ating pagbabalik, alam niyo sa mga regular nating listeners sa radyo at telebisyon at social media pages, naiba yung umagang ito sapagkat nagbibigay tayo ng pagkakataon sa National Defense College of the Philippines Alumni Association para sa kanilang annual Defense Forum. Mamaya sa pagbabalik natin, siguro itatanong ni ang aming Pangulo sa NDCP Alumni Association, who's winning the war? Maganda yung binanggit ni Colonel Padilla, spokesperson ng Armed Forces. We are at war in information domain. But right now, thus far, who is winning the war? Mamaya sa ating pagbabalik. Ilan mo ng paalala?
Commercial break po tayo, sabay na po.
Sige.
Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful. Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan. Kala Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful. Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Maulan man, no worries na amoy kulob ang damit.
Charm Fabcon, bangong kumaka-bloom, tanggal amoy kulob sa bango ng charm.
Kaya gamit ko, Charm Fabcon with Bloom Fresh technology. Kills 99.9% of kulob-causing bacteria. May aroma burst pa of thousands of flowers and berries. Ang sampay sa loob, no amoy kulob.
Bangong kumaka-bloom sa charm.
Charm Fabcon.
ACS.
Tinesting, sinuri, siniyasan. Ang resulta, super effective ang Shield sa pagpatay ng bakterya at virus. Shield Antibacterial Soap. Believe ang mga eksperto sa Philippine Nurses Association. At si Mami,
Tiwala ako sa Shield.
Shield Antibacterial Soap. Napatunayang mabisa. Ang mga nurse, tiwala.
ACS.
Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Kala Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful. Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Kala Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful. Good vibes ang hanap mo? Dito ka na sa sigurado! Mula sa mga istoryang nagbibigay ng inspirasyon hanggang sa mga kwentong may dalang solusyon. Mga balitang pampagaan, pakiramdam at pampaganda ng araw. Hindi lang ba sa good news, kundi the better news. Mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 ng tanghali sa DZRH TV.
Tuloy-tuloy ang pagtulong.
Tuloy-tuloy ang pagseserbisyo at tuloy-tuloy ang balitaan kasama si May Binauhan sa Operation Tulong mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Nakarinig lang ako ng bola sa court, takbo na ako dun sa... Sobrang grateful ko nung time na yon, dream come true para sa akin. So sa isip ko lang nun, di ko to sasayangin. Dream ko to eh. Tapos yun na din, nakakatulong na ako sa family ko. Kasi ako lang din yung breadwinner eh. Ako yung panganay. Tapos nasa college pa yung mga kapatid ko. Yun ang tulong-tulong lang din sa kanila. Pero ngayong conference, yun nga, mas dodoblehin pa namin ang trabaho namin. Hi, I'm JB Bahio from NLEX Road Warriors. Panoorin ang aking interview sa Match Point. Mabuhay ang atletang Pilipino.
This Saturday on Scene Zone, chikahan with indie darling Clara Benin at rewind din tayo sa Senti Feels na hatid ng kanyang Really Got Me Thinking concert. At kilalanin ng US OPM girl group na May May, humandang ma-LSS sa kanilang debut single na Telebong. Alas 12 ng tanghali, dito lang sa DZRH TV.
Maagang balitaan, maagang usapan sa mga issue at balita kasama si Kuya Angelo Palmones sa Magandang Umaga Pilipinas mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Visayas at Mindanao at maging sa ibang bansa.
Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, una sa Pilipinas.
Una sa Pilipino.
Advokasiyang maliit, basta't malinit. Maraming
salamat. Muling sumasainyo ang ating palatuntunan special on Saturday.
Salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa amin dito sa Executive Session. Mabuhay ang
Isang oras na talakayan ng mga usaping may kinalaman sa ating
akto. Idulog yun yan dito sa Hoy. Bawal yan.
Ang latest happenings at trending sa mundo ng entertainment and lifestyle with favorite stars. Mga kwentong maghahatid ng inspirasyon at aral sa mundo ng
Duterte is present in this meeting today, in this hearing today. The respondent is not present.
Let it be placed on record that COMSEC called again the Vice President. That is for the purpose of giving her the opportunity to present her evidence.
The impeachment is a process that seeks to exact accountability. It can be political. It can also be an instrument where the majority can use that power to exact revenge.
Gusto niyong palitan ang Senate President kasi gusto niyo tuloy-tuloy na yung impeachment.
Special on Saturday at sa umagang ito ng Sabado, ang ating mga panawin ay 90% ay mga alumni ng National Defense College of the Philippines sapagkat malapit na ho ang anniversary ng NDCP, that's going to be August. At isa sa annual activity ng NDCP alumni ay ang Defense Forum katulad nito. Kanina napag-usapan natin First Island Chain, tapos yung ilang dimensions of this. Napunta na tayo sa ano bang sitwasyon ngayon? Hindi na bakbakan na katulad ng Pearl Harbor at ngayon ay kinetic and non-kinetic, is more on non-kinetic, at in-explain yan sa atin ng ating panawin ng spokesperson ng Armed Forces, Colonel Padilla. Siguro, bigyan natin ng pagkakataon kung mayroong comment or tanong ang ating Pangulo. Ang Pangulo ng NDCP Alumni Association, si Judge Joy Torres. Judge?
Thank you, Sir Cesar. Yes, it's getting to be very interesting what's happening now in this discussion, this conversation. So, Ma'am, Colonel Padilla, you mentioned that about this information campaign, information war so to speak. So who's winning it at the moment?
Ito ma'am, parang ano pa no, he says, she says ito. But ang tinitingnan natin dito, tignan natin ma'am yung Pilipino and Pilipinas as a whole, no? Ang pinakamalaking asset natin dito is yung tao natin, sir. Even in maritime, nabanggit ni sir, no, na nandyan tayo. Yung skill sets po ng mga Pilipino. Anong distinct po sa atin in the Philippines? We have a sheer number of OFWs. So yung boses po natin is re-echoed all over the world with the Filipino diaspora, no, na nandoon sa iba't ibang bansa. Pangalawa, dati sir, tax capital of the world tayo, di ba ma'am? Ngayon po, we are the country with the most number of hours spent in social media. So on average, ang isang Pilipino po, 8 to 9 hours. Pagising pa lang, binubuksan na po yung kanyang social media. So we have to leverage on this great online presence. So kanina ma'am, nabanggit nyo yung Miss Universe, pag nagbotohan sir, nananalo tayo. Kasi talagang magboboto yung In fact, yung mga influencers tend to go to the Philippines because kumikita sila dito sir. Kasi nagre-react tayo sir, nagba-viral sila.
Filipino content.
Yes, sir.
Any content. Filipino content. Tapos,
So, yun ang meron tayo, sir. It's actually one of our superpowers, no? Yung information domain presence of the Filipinos. So, andyan pa rin, ma'am, na merong different perspectives. But we say this, sir, that the truth is our greatest weapon. So you'll never go wrong if you speak of the truth. So yun po yung ginagawa natin, no? Even in the West Philippine Sea issue, we embed media in our missions. The RORE missions are AFP missions, and we embed media po, no, to show to the whole world what is actually happening doon sa talagang situation on our seas, sa mga ganito po. So yun mga pinaka-influence natin to spread the truth to the whole world. And I think with the sheer number of countries na coming in and joining us in this conversation and signing status of visiting forces agreements and even the RAA, makikita natin, ma'am, na we must have been doing something right na lumalawig po, no, itong alliances and partnerships po natin.
alright, sabi ni Colonel, the truth is on our side and the truth is that West Philippine Sea is ours. Pero, paano mo tinitingnan yung truth? Kung minsan ang truth natin, ang energy is 90%, 100%. Kung minsan dahil sa domestic issues, politics, flood control, yung truth minsan nagiging 20% na napag-uusapan. Not in sustainable speed, not in sustainable focus, without necessarily demeaning yung efforts ng armed forces and the entire government in explaining and winning on the hearts and minds pagdating sa West Philippine Sea. Pero, who's winning the war? Pag kayo ho, dating Defense Secretary Bert Gonzales, who's winning the war in the information domain?
I think we're losing. I'm sorry to say that. Maganda yung sinabi kanina tungkol sa as far as the Chinese is concerned, ang fundamental lang issue is their love of country. They love their country, and from here, diniderive na nila yung gagawin nila. We love our country, we will not allow any inch of our soil to be taken by the enemy, etc., etc. But yan, medyo palagay ko hindi natin masyado nakikita sa Pilipinas ngayon. If you look at international surveys, we're among the bottom. Yung nagmamahal sa bayan. Yeah. Very particular ang China sa love of country. If we want China to respect us, we have to show that we love our country equally. At least, kung anong pagmamahal ng China sa kanilang bansa, dapat yan ang pagmamahal sa atin.
You're saying na mas obvious, mas deeply evident ang pagmamahal ng isang Chinese sa kaniyang bansa kumpara sa mga Pilipino?
Yes.
Is that based on survey, empirical data, or based on the Facebook na marami kayong...
No. It's not that.
No, I have to ask that.
It is based on the kind of strategy we're adopting.
Okay.
To defend ourselves from a Chinese incursions or what.
Dr. Cesar.
Let me finish. Very important yan. It has to be done in action. I have been hoping for the armed forces to start thinking of preparing our people rather than just the military. Alam mo, ang ginagawa natin, we train with China, with Japan, with Australia, with US. Talagang to the point that yung, ano bang tawag doon, yung universe na pinapakita natin, ay yung strategy ng ibang bansa. So we are saying, kung ang talagang hinahanap sa atin ng kalaban natin, ang hinahanap sa atin ng mga kaibigan natin, ano ba ang kaya niyong gawin on your own? You know, that is why I think we have to take advantage of one reality that we have, demographically speaking. And we have sinasabi ng experts, we have a 5-year window. Tayong may pinakamaraming kabataan na pwedeng sanayin at i-integrate sa ating defense strategy. Kailangan natin, palagay ko, over the next 5 years, which is I think, nakalipas na yung taon dyan. I think we need compulsory military service soon. Kasi ang ipapakita lang naman, ang yaman lang natin, ang lakas lang natin, sinasabi mo pati sa text, ating taong bayan. We are the highest number of young people in the world. We have more than 20 million young people that's ready for training. I think yun ang importante kasi yung action ng pagtitraining, to me is the best illustration that we love our country when we join
Sige.
the fight.
Paikot lang ako, very brief lang to. Very brief answer lang. Colonel Lag, are we losing in the information domain?
Well, personally, I think I joined the observation of Secretary Gonzales.
Commodore Jerry, are we losing in the information domain?
It's an uphill battle, Doc Cesar. Why? Para sa akin, with the present at saka yung past foreign policy natin, I think the previous foreign policy of the previous administration was able to help yung nangyayaring cognitive warfare by the others.
I will ask Colonel Padilla to discuss further on the cognitive warfare. Very brief answer. Are we losing in the information domain?
I don't think so, sir.
Oh, right. I don't think so. Would you be privy to share your opinion, Judge? Okay. Kasi alam nyo, kailangan maging sensitive tayo. Baka mamaya biglang may mag-lunch ng naintindihan natin yan. Nandito siya, aming nanay dito. Alright. I need to ask this kasi empirical data. SWS, Pulse Asia, and all other surveys, overwhelming majority, 75 to 80%. Believe that atin yung West Philippines.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so yung paniniwalang ganyan ay paniniwala sa katotohanan at pagmamahal din sa bayan, hindi po ba? Pero iniisip ko rin, minsan chinecheck ko ang sarili ko na, teka muna, itong opinion ba is based on empirical data o dahil marami akong FB friend na katulad ninyo? And therefore, yung opinion nyo ang nakikita ko. And therefore, yung baka ito. So, medyo mag-iingat din tayo. Medyo, ako niyan. Pero, ano yan? May perception talaga na natatalo din tayo. So, anong position dyan ng armed forces?
Sir, for us, sir.
And by the way, that is not an isolated opinion.
Yes,
na we are losing in the information domain.
We have the proper tools that are in place to really look into yung pulso ng bayan. So, meron po tayong kinukuhang mga statistics, no, even sa online. But of course, hindi natin pwedeng maging pinaka-basis yun, sir. Kasi pwede pong botnets na yun, troll farms and all, no? So, ino-augment po natin ito with physical surveys. And the survey shows that 83% of our kababayans are willing to fight with the AFP for the West,
willing to fight.
And 83%, yun nga sir, 8 out of 10 Filipinos trust the AFP, and 7 out of 10 Filipinos are willing to fight with the AFP. And ngayon sir, nasa 90% na din po yung well aware of the West Philippine Sea issue,
which means
as opposed to previous years.
Which means yung strategy
sir, transparency initiative natin, and then the Armed Forces of the Philippines also implemented the communications plan Mulat, sir, is awakening. So we go all over, we tell the Filipino people what's this about, no? So it's RCs, yung historical natin dyan, sir, no? Accounts natin dyan. Our rights, yun pong under UNCLOS, yung arbitral ruling in our favor, and our future, what's in it for us? What do we do moving forward? So yung tatlong yun, sir, I think with the survey showing this, we're sabi nga ni sir, it's an uphill battle.
Hindi pwede kasing, I'll go to former Defense Secretary Bert Gonzales, hindi kasi pwedeng ihiwalay the entire concept of information domain sa West Philippine Sea, First Island, sa domestic politics. Kasi kung anong nakikita nyo sa page 1 ng mga dyaryo or social media or headlines ng radyo at television, 24 oras, TV Patrol, pangunahing balita ng DSRH, ACS, balita ng... Kung ano yung napapakinggan nyo, sometimes, overwhelming majority ay negative. Negative laban sa gobyerno. May mga panahon, negative laban sa gobyerno. Dahil sa araw-araw na pumapasok sa isip natin yung mga negative, flood control, corruption here and there, parang pag nagsalita ngayon ang Pangulo tungkol sa West Philippine Sea, hindi siya tinitingnan na nagsasalita ang Pangulo sa West Philippine Sea lang. Sino tong nagsasalita nito? Sino tong congressman na to? Sino tong cabinet member na to? Anong credibility? Kung nasasadlak din sa iba pa mga issues, no? So, ganun ang pagtingin ko kung paano natin uunawain na nanalo ba tayo. Pero may dapat tayong ihiwalay palagi empirical data. That we cannot compromise. SWS Pulse Asia, research methodology, survey methodology, tried and tested sa buong... May questions tayo kung minsan. But otherwise, overwhelming majority, sabi ni Carla Padilla, naniniwala na atin ang West Philippine Sea. Overwhelming majority, number 2, na mataas ang respeto sa armed forces, and overwhelming majority is that item number 3, pwede na handang ipaglaban ang ating teritoryo. Would that change your perspective, Secretary?
The more. Because the data is showing that our people are looking for real action for them to defend our country, for them to express their love of country. Alam mo, ang tingin ng, umiikot naman din ako ng
yes.
Ang tingin ng taong bayan natin, hindi kami binibigyan ng pagkakataon para ipakita ang pagmamahal namin sa
good point,
We need to show our love of country.
Alright.
Ganoon nakainit yung nakikita ng survey mo.
Alright, okay.
So I think
I understood.
we need the organizational
Perfectly understood.
framework for that.
Yes.
Alright. Mamaya sa ating pagbabalik kay kay Judge Joy tsaka kay Colonel Vlad Mata. Siyang pangulo ng Association of Reservists in the Philippines. Bagat gusto na natin ng aksyon, di ba? Siyempre tatanungin ko ano bang opinion ng mga tao, gusto ba nilang maging reservist at ano nang konsepto ng reservist dito. Samantala, ilan muna ang paalala?
Wow, ang saya. Isang barangay na labada, puro mancha pa. Goodbye, pahinga.
Mommy, isang laba lang yan sa Pride Bar Blue. May powerful stain-away enzymes na malupit sa dunit mansya.
At di masakit sa kamay. Isang laba lang yan. Hello, pahinga. Hello, Pride Bar Blue. ACS.
Tanggaling-galing mo. Smart dishwashing paste ko. Pritong ulam na masebo. Plato ng kaldero. Tanggaling for everyday.
Ganyan pag smart ang dishwashing paste. May double tanggaling formula. Tanggal ang sebo. Tanggal ang bakterya.
Pahit para walang bahid. Linis fantastic sa metal at plastic. Number 1 ko to. Tanggaling-galing mo. Smart dishwashing paste. ACS.
Araw-araw, iba't ibang mga bagay na dapat pagtagumpayan. Ang subok kong partner ay MX3 Capsule. Research-based na tested and proven. Helps avoid pain discomfort. Iwas-iwas sa sakit. Kailangan lang na long-term ang pag-inom 2 capsules araw-araw. Kasabay ng proper diet and exercise. I am able to make it with the right partner. MX3, dito ako bilib!
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamitin panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Falcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Falcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Hello, Washi! Laundry day na naman!
Yay! Anong meron?
Mancha ng chocolate, putik, may libag pa!
Kaya natin yan! With Pride Washing Machine Detergent, may triple stain-away formula. Tanggal ang makapit, madikit, at malupit na dumit mancha. Kaya easy-easy ang labada.
Mula noon hanggang ngayon!
All you need is pride. All you need is pride. ACS.
May arte? May budget? Akala nyo lang yon.
So solid. White rose papaya, wow, white rose. White rose papaya, wow, white rose. White rose papaya.
May glow up with white rose papaya. White rose papaya. May puti power times 2 kasi may papaya at niacinamide. May shea butter and tea tree oil pa. Kutis sulit ang glow up.
Glow up with white rose papaya.
White rose papaya. Kutis sulit ang glow up.
ACS.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Falcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Jiggy Manikad po. Bilang isang broadcaster, mahalaga sa akin ang tamang impormasyon. Sa lahat ng bagay, kahit sa food supplement, mapanuri ako. Kaya dito ako sa subok ng MX3 capsule. Ito'y may alpha, beta at gamma mangosteen. Para sa akin, sigurado ako sa MX3 capsule. Dito ako believe.
Mahalagang paalala, ang MX3 capsule ay hindi gamot at hindi dapat gamiting panggamot sa anumang uri ng sakit.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Falcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Falcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Kinontradict niya yung sarili niya kasi nung na-elect siya na Senate President, sabi niya tuloy ang impeachment. Yung mga pro-ERAP noong impeachment trial sa Senado, they were punished during the next midterm election. So may ano yun naiisip din ng mga senador yun.
At maraming salamat po sa mga inyo na ang Agri-Asenso hanggang sa susunod.
Alas 4 na po ng inyong paboritong programa ang
DZRH Boom Balita ngayong araw ng Sabado.
Mga balitang gigising sa inyong umaga. Mga balitang kailangan mong malaman. Mapapakinggan sa ACS Balita sa 2x2. Kasama sina Anthony Taberna at Jerry Baha. Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Alright, balik tayo sa ating palatuntunang special on Saturday at sa kabubukas ng radyo at telebisyon. Bago kayo pumalaot sa inyong bangka o kayo sa inyong pedicab doon sa mga karinderya at sa mga pundahan, Ang mga panoorin ho natin ngayon ay mga alumni ng National Defense College of the Philippines at ang pinag-uusapan ho natin ngayon ay tungkol sa geopolitics at kung ano ang role ng Pilipinas at anong mga hamon ang kinakaharap natin at ano ginagawa ng pamahalaan at ano ang sa tingin ng iba ay hindi pa nagagawa ng pamahalaan. Kanina pinag-usapan natin, mataas ang survey, SWS, Pulse Asia, Okta Research including, and other international polls na tatlong bagay. Number one, mataas ang respeto at tiwala ng sambayan ng Pilipino sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. Pangalawa, mataas ang paniniwala at conviction ng mga Pilipino, empirical data, SWS, Pulse Asia, na handang ipaglaban ang ating bansa. Katotohanan na doon ang patriotismo. At pangatlo ay atin ang West Philippine Sea. Tatlong indicator ng commitment, ng consciousness, general consciousness, national sentiments ng mga Pilipino. Pero sabi kanina ni Defense Secretary Norberto Gonzales, dahil sa ganyang strength, kailangan na natin ng aksyon. Parang ginaganyan niya si Colonel Vlad Mata sapagkat siya namumuno ng mga reservist. Anong aksyon? Meron bang aksyon?
In coordination with our armed forces, no?
Two specific questions. General consciousness, accepted ba ng mga Pilipino na gusto ko maging reservist?
Well, totoo yun. No? Kaya nga umiikot rin kami sa buong Pilipinas in coordination with J9, no? Para ibalik yung interest talaga nila. At habang umiikot po kami, dahil yung sa association chaired by ating chairman, si Congressman Romero, pinupromote ho namin total defense concept where we are really indispensable part of the armed forces of the Philippines. Hindi lang, nasabi rin niya, yung dimensions ng security, hindi lang military yan, napag-aralan natin sa national security yan, yung economic and all. So itong mga reservists na ito, no, citizen soldiers, pwedeng strategic partner mo sa lahat ng dimension na iyon. Hindi lang military. But we go first with sa military aspect. No, how do we train them? How do we bring back the consciousness and the appreciation of their value as a reservist? No, yun ang problema rin natin ngayon, sir, no? Because I think we really have to, put resources to that. Parang kami, nag-aral din ho kami sa Guam, yung National Guard nila. It's a separate institution, no, ng US military. No? Kaya talagang pwersado silang pondohan yon, pati training nila align doon sa mga training ng mga mga active forces. Kaya pagka in the event of something happen, one click lang yan, nandiyan na rin sila. But beyond that, no, yung citizen soldiers.
Quick question. Attractive ba sa mga kabataan na maging reservist?
Unang-una, sir.
If I need to ask this question, sexy ba ang dating sa kanila?
Tingnan muna natin ang pananaw nila, lalo na ng mga kabataan at ng ordinaryo mamamayan. Ang dating pangmayaman ang reservist.
Yan.
Mga elitista.
Tama yun.
Dahil kasi mga mistiso, mga nakasuot ng mga uniforme, mahal ang uniforme, walang pondo o pambili ng bota. So, paano ako sasama po?
Teka muna, ano bang konsepto ng reservist concept sa Pilipinas? Dapat bang sumali? Dapat bang may military drill?
Galing po ng kolehiyo. So, mahal mag-kolehiyo. So, sila lang ang nag-ROTC.
Kasi sa Partido National High School, kung saan ako the biggest public school in 4th District of Camarines Sur. First year na high school pa lang, sabi ko, gusto ko maging corps commander.
Yeah.
Pero wala naman, hindi naman ako attracted sa uniforme. Parang, at that time, parang ang tingin ko, very relevant siya. Pero hindi ba nag-evolve na siya? Hindi na fancy drill ito Dapat may technical skills ka na may ambag, na mayroon ka ng kagalingan, kaalaman tungkol sa ecological, environmental, human disaster preparedness. Hindi ba ganito ang konsepto? Kayo sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, sa pag-iikot ninyo, sa recruitment ninyo, mas attractive na ba sa kabataang Pilipino ang maging reservist ngayon, kumpara ng mga nakaraang taon?
Kung titignan mo, sir, yung recruitment namin, actually, sir, we are overwhelmed with the sheer number of applicants this time. Nag-triple siya, sir, from the usual. So, na-acknowledge na ng mga tao, sir, kung how they can contribute in their own special way. Because sa reserve forces, sir, tinatanggal natin yung misnomer na ibabala kayo sa kanyon and frontlines kayo. Sa reserve force, sir, to each his own. Your skill sets, yun po yung i-offer mo to the table. So if you're a doctor, you're in the medical field, treat the wounded. Ngayon sir, even the cyber warriors can be part of it. No? So nagkaroon na tayo ng ganong tranche. Yung mga judge, sir, mga attorney, nandun sila, they give legal advice to our troops. So yun sir, force multiplier sila, and they can be the front lines na ngayon. So kung tignan mo sir, nung huling may bagyo, Batanes cannot be reached by the armed forces because the planes cannot fly, the ships cannot sail. So it was the reserve forces in Batanes who were the ones who deployed and did the search and rescue operations at the onset bago tumila sir yung kalangitan at nakarating na po yung tulong. So yun po ang nagiging role ng natin ngayon, reserve forces natin. They know the terrain, they know the the intricacies in their own their own locations. So sila po yung una na rumeresponde. So ngayon sir, even in the earthquake na nangyari, malaking tulong po itong ating reserve forces sir. And marami na pong nagjo-join.
Siyempre, ang tanong diyan, archipelagic country tayo, may island tayo, tapos marami tayong mga barko, etc. etc. Tama ba yung understanding ko na yung maritime sector ang isa sa ready reserve force natin?
Yeah, well actually speaking for PMMA as superintendent, alam niyo ang PMMA, I would say it is an overlooked institution na strategic power.
Yeah.
Why? Because PMMA is providing dual identity. One for the, because military training ang academy, at one is for the merchant marine and another one for the AFP. About 10% of PMMA graduates go to Coast Guard and Philippine Navy. And they graduate as second lieutenants or ensigns, commission upon graduation. And this number is increased because after graduation, all graduates are commissioned in the Philippine Navy Reserve Force. So, unfortunately, there was a part in our history na nagkaroon ng disconnect ang aming mga graduates, well, because of the situation in the Philippines na ang more favored ang mga graduates na sumakay internationally, commercial vessels. Yeah, one is like that. And because at the time, yung ang pivot ng ating armed forces towards internal counterinsurgency. So, walang gamit ang mga graduates natin. But I believe the wisdom of our leadership before was that they made our graduates join the commercial vessels because we need to modernize our armed forces.
But before that, I go further than that, Commodore Joel. Ang expertise mo is nasa maritime, pero as a whole, ilang seafarers meron tayo? I asked that question because ang dulo ng tanong kong yan, hindi ba sila dapat reservist na?
Yes, that's right. We should be. But there is an NSTP law that those other maritime institutions can choose between a reserve or yung ating social
I'm referring to more or less 400,000 seafarers.
These are the number of seafarers aboard vessel at this time. Yeah. If you look at PMMA graduates, we have around 11,000 plus graduates na and they are ready reserve, and some of them are in the service. And if you will look at the capability, these are masters, chief engineers, port supervisors, in the executives, and they are working all over the world. Now, these are ito yung sabi kong strategic power na na-overlook natin. Kasi they are reserve force.
Alright.
Yeah? We can mobilize.
Binubuo natin yung kwento na yung naputol tayo kanina. Binubuo natin ang kwento na mataas ang paniniwala ng mga Pilipino na mahal niya ang bayan niya, ipaglalaban niya ito at atin ang West Philippine Sea. I-limit lang muna natin yung tatlong indicators niyan. Kaya lang, sabi ni dating Defense Secretary Bert Gonzales, naghanap tayo ng aksyon. Ngayon, nagpaliwanag si Colonel Vlad, si Commodore Jerry, and Commodore Abutal, and Colonel Padilla. So, ang tanong ko ulit kay dating Defense Secretary Bert Gonzales, kulang pa?
Hindi pa natin ginagawa ang dapat natin
gawin. Ano yun?
Well, let's take Japan as a model. Japan, hindi ba bawal silang makipaggera? Wala silang puwersa. Pero nung pinayagan, instantly they have a Navy. They have an Air Force. Bakit? Yung sinasabi mo.
That's right.
Yung kanilang mga seafarers pala trained to take over and be in the Navy of the New Japan. Just imagine what happens. Ako, I'm wondering, saan nanguhan? Paano? Hindi naman ganun kabilis mag-training. And then instantly, they have a Navy, they have an Army, they have an Air Force, they have the warships. Why? How? Simple lang. May itinatago ang Japan sa atin all these years. Ngayon tayo, given the situation of the country today, we don't have to hide anything. In fact, I think our allies will welcome to see that we are training our young people. It's our only asset left. Huwag na tayo makipagkompetensya sa ganda ng barko, ganda ng... But people, alam mo, ang pinakamalaki nating problema ngayon is the lack of respect from our enemy and from our friends. When they look at the Filipinos, pati dito sa mga excess. Sorry, I have to say this. I'm not saying this because I don't love my country. But we have to do something. Pag tinitignan ng mga Pilipino, ano ang tinitignan? What are our capabilities? Oh, pwede na, Tagalaba, Tusan, Messenger.
Well,
but you see,
wala pinagkaiba yan sa article na James follows in the Monthly Atlantic noong 1980s at the height of coup attempt. The damaged culture, di ba? So papunta na tayo dun sa isang discussion, political culture, that kuminsan minamaliit natin ang sarili natin. At yung pagmamaliit natin sa sarili natin, nagiging national consciousness na ang tingin natin yun na yun. But otherwise, marami naman tayong it's a matter of organizing. Hindi ba? It's a matter of organizing because sabi ni Colonel Padilla, may capability na sila. Doktor, abogado, nurse, radio technicians. These are, ang sinasabi na lang, magkaroon ng national consciousness institutionalized na kapag you achieve this kind of level of technical competence. Item 1, technical competence, dapat reservist ka na. At yung gustong papunta roon sa mga iba-ibang, kasi national development is a national security, hindi ba? It cannot be isolated. Tama ho ba? Hindi, it cannot be isolated, bang, or security. In other words, kapag pinagaganda mo ang kakayahan, skill set ng isang tao para sa economic livelihood niya, pinalalakas mo rin ang kanyang kakayahan tumulong sa kapwa, and therefore, hindi ho ba yan ang konsepto ng reservist? Pero what's lacking?
The lacking is the policy.
Let me tell I need reactions from you.
Policy lang.
Kasi lagi kong hinahanap sa konsepto, strategy, and how to operationalize this. You have 400,000 seafarers. Hindi ba pwedeng executive order lumabas, if not a law later, na ito, reservists na sila.
Exactly.
Whether may advanced training, reorientation sila, but pag seafarer ka na, you will be given, say, a certificate na dahil nag-seafarer ka na, may actual, what else? Ano pa bang pinakamabuti kundi yung nag-abroad ka, nagtrabaho ka sa barko, may competence ka na, technical competence, therefore, meron ka ng, pwede ka na, and therefore, operationally, executive order, if not a law, reservist na kayo, ito ang certificate ninyo. As a certificate, may civil service kayo o wala, may civil service eligibility kayo. Is that not good operational
absolutely yes.
recommendation?
Absolutely yes. Because Filipino seafarers...
Is someone doing that? Meron bang senador? Meron bang...
Wala. But Filipino seafarers command the movements of goods all over the world, 90%.
Para mas madaling maintindihan, the human face of a reservist sa discussion lang na ito ay seafarers, 400,000. Immediately, if I'm the president.
And they are about 1.8 million na seafarers graduate. What we are talking about, mention mo, is 400 on board ngayon. Pero they are more than...
Pero syempre hindi lang naman yan pwedeng certificate lang. Dapat may incentives din.
Just like in the United States, just like in Japan, there is what we call Merchant Marine Service.
Yes.
Or the 5th or the 7th service of the United States. There's Air Force, Marines, Navy, Army. And it's not considered. If you go to a park in Maryland, there's a statue of a Merchant Marine officer, the 7th, nakahalera do sa statue ng Air Force and Navy. It's the 7th service or the Merchant Marine Service. Kaya may captain, nasa dulo, MMS. It's a policy, it's a law, meaning, pag nagkagera, you're compelled to join.
In other words, kapag ka alam mo kasing ikaw ay enlisted na reservist, you know exactly where to go at kung anong area mo. Kay Colonel Padilla, papunta ba tayo sa ganyan?
Sir, yun
Or
naman
is this a policy issue?
Yun naman ang gusto natin, sir. Policy issue siya. But the Armed Forces of the Philippines, of course, welcomes na dumami nga, lumawig itong forces natin, as force multipliers. But yung nabanggit po ni former Secretary, sir, nandoon na po tayo papunta. Yung sinasabi niyo, sir, na respect, we have been showing the professionalism of the Armed Forces of the Philippines through the years. Nitong recent, sir, na exercises that was held in Australia, which was participated by the Air Force, there was one maneuver that it was only our own pilots, even if mas hindi ganon kaganda yung eroplano natin compared sa iba. Ang closing ceremony, sir, ang highlight po was that the organizers from Australia highlighted that the Filipino pilots were the rock stars of that exercise. Because yung skill sets natin, sir, nag-shine siya doon. And on our maneuvers at sea, may tunghuli, sir, sa news, nalaman niya naman, sir, how we were able to do our maneuvers dyan. So, but of course, there are challenges that we're facing and we acknowledge that, sir. But of course, we're doing, yung paano natin i-improve our capabilities together with, kung hindi nga natin, sir, kayang pantayan with the equipage. But, sir, alam nyo, I've been joining multi-maritime exercises that we're conducting with different allies and partners, nations. And we are leading, sir.
And we are earning respect.
Leading. Yes, sir. With our new, frigates, maririnig mo, sir, na yung captains of the ship are commanding, sir, even allied nations to do the maneuvers. Tayo, sir, taking the lead. And it is really very, sir,
pwede bang i-Facebook live na yan yung mga
yes, sir.
Pwede na ba yan? I-Facebook live? Ibig sabihin, at the time na nagkukumand ang Pilipino sa Allied Forces, pwede bang i-Facebook live yan para medyo...
Yes, sir.
Bawal pa yan?
We'll see, sir, if they allow the money.
Sige.
Gusto ko lang balikan yung secretary mo siya. In-advocate yung first world principle. No? We want to be first world, but we're not putting the enough appropriate resources to go to that or to achieve that. In other words,
define mo na yung first world sa concept ni SND.
Yung to be excellent in global power, for example. But we are not putting resources to where we want our resources, our force to be in. No? Parang aspirational lagi tayo eh. Okay, we want to be the best, but we are not putting our resources to where we should be. Yun po yung in-advocate niya, yung first world movement.
Substantially, I agree with you na parang aspirational na lang.
Kaya nga,
pero
ang binabanggit niyo, sir, wala kang talagang klarong patakaran, at pagka wala kang patakaran, wala ka ring pondo na ilalagay doon. Katulad sa Reserve Force. Okay, lahat tayo, patriotic, gusto nating maging pero wala naman kaming uniform nga. Ako mismo bumibili sa sarili ko. I'm willing. At pagka na-deploy ka, for example, pagka nagkagera, wala naman akong baril. No, paano mo bibigyan yung 1.3 million mong reservist ng armas? Tatanga lang kami doon.
Again,
something like that.
Again, we're transitioning from the traditional concept of a reservist officer to a modern definition of that, operational definition of that. So sa giyerang ito, baka 80% nothing to do with bang bang bang, but has something to do with click click click, mind mind mind, di ba ho? So in other words, hindi tayo masyadong problema ron. Bago tayo mag-commercial break, Secretary Bert,
I just want to respond to her. You know, I salute what the Armed Forces is showing to the world. There's no problem with that. Our training, our expertise, what we do with our allies, fantastic. But that is not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to focus on is what are we doing with our people, with our young people. We are not preparing them. You know, when I was in office, I don't know if it's still true, matagal na yun. Ang dami-dami nating drill sergeants na matatanda na. We can use them to train our reserve force. Alam mo, tsaka pagka-reserve kasi, ang laki ng tipid ng gobyerno dyan. Walang sweldo yan eh.
Yes, sir.
Wala ring retirement.
Pero Secretary Bert, it's not so much on fancy drills, ha? Much more
I agree.
doon na tayo sa capability.
That is right.
Disaster preparedness, halimbawa.
Yes.
Economic development.
Well, you know,
Yung simpleng pagtutulong sa community na mga gano'n.
you know, when it comes to the curriculum, what we will do, what we will teach, we have them.
Okay.
Ang dami nating meron.
Yes, sir.
Pero wala tayong policy na nagsasabi na gagawin natin.
Alright, okay.
That is, to me, is all about policy.
Alright, pumapasok na yung communications dyan because policy, lagi kong sinasabi na ang communication ay bumubuntot lang kung ano ang policy. So kung ang medyo tahimik tayo ng konti policy o blurred ang policy natin o nahihiya tayo sa policy natin, nahihiya din yung com. So kung, well, it's going to be it's not really an armed forces alone. It's a whole government approach and sabi nga ni Yorme sa State of the City Address, live by example every single day. Para sustainable focus, sustainable speed. Alright, magbabalik kami. Sa ating pagbabalik, pag-usapan natin BARM elections. Anong latest? Anong latest sa BARM elections? Yung mga kasama natin dito, nauunawaan nito at may background sila roon. Magiging mapayapa. Of course, yan ang paniwala natin sa lahat. Anong mga challenges ang nako-confront doon at what do we hope to achieve? Imagine, sa mga nakikinig sa atin sa DISA-Rich Cotabato, DISA-Rich Davao, DISA-Rich Cagayan, DISA-Rich General Santos, and DISA-Rich Zamboanga. 3 beses na ako na naudlot ang BARM elections 22, 25, 26. Dapat 26 March may BARM elections. Ngayon, September na. Anong latest? Anong stake natin dito? What's in it for me? Ilan mo ng palala?
Tumunog na ang gantingan para sa kalikasan. Ang itinanghal bilang Best AM Radio Program Host ay si CESAR CHAVEZ para sa special on Saturday ng DZRH.
Maulan man, no worries na amoy kulog ang damit.
Charm, Fab, Con, bangong pumakabloom, tanggal amoy kulog sa bango ng charm.
Kaya gamit ko, Charm Fab Con with Bloom Fresh technology. Kills 99.9% of kulob-causing bacteria. May aroma burst pa of thousands of flowers and berries. Ang sampay sa loob, no amoy kulob.
Bangong pumakabloom sa charm.
Charm Fab Con.
ACS.
Sa lahat ng bagay, simula pa lang, siguraduhing max protection na. Kasi pag kulang ang proteksyon, baka madaling masira. Sa ngipin, dapat may max protection din. Max Alaga ng Unique Toothpaste. With Max Protect Formula, helps stop cavities before they start, while keeping breath fresh. Try Unique Maximum Fluoride Protection. Para Max Alaga, Max Protektado.
ACS.
Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Kala Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful. Fabcon, amoy nakaka-joyful.
Ang bango ng sampayan, tara na magsayawan.
Kala Fabcon,
Amoy nakaka-joyful!
Tambalang Anthony Taberna at Jerry Baha ang gigising sa inyong umaga dahil lalatay ang humahagupit na diskusyon at komentaryo Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa 2x2.
Ng naitalang 17 individual na ang kanilang naaresto.
Metro Manila Development Authority o MMDA ang No Contact Apprehension Policy o NCAP sa Metro Manila.
Sa ilang mga dokumento ay peke.
The armed forces, ha? Alright, tuloy-tuloy tayo sa ating palatuntunan special on Saturday. We still have what? Less than 30 minutes. Magpo-focus tayo sa BARM elections and at the same time sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. No? What's latest? Anong bago dyan? Because ang ating mga panelists ngayon at panauhin natin ngayon, mamaya magbibigay ng closing statement ang ating presidente, si si Attorney Joy Torres. Siya ho ay judge, pangulo ng NDCP Alumni Association. Si Colonel Vlad ng ating NDCP Alumni, of course, Commodore Jerry. Si Ronald Darbata, Dr. Ronald Darbata, wala lang ho siya dito pero nasa studio ho namin, isa pa sa mga alumni officers, and si Dr. Aldrin Cunha, Mr. Commander, Mr. James Bond. Alright. Okay. Pag-usapan natin BARM elections. Anong latest sa BARM elections? How prepared ang Armed Forces of the Philippines? Anong situation doon? At anong role ninyo sa BARM elections?
So basically, sir, no, ito nga, historic ito, sir. Historic first. And it is a key, sir, no, accomplishment for our peace process. So for the Armed Forces of the Philippines, sir, of course, we're looking at national security concerns. Dito naman, sir, for peace and order for the electoral process, nasa frontlines pa rin natin dyan ng Philippine National Police. But lagi po tayong humahalinhin as to how the AFP will support, no, sa ganitong operation, sir. So full swing po yung magiging deployment natin dyan, sir. We have to really make sure that this will be peaceful and credible, itong magiging elections na to, sir. Yes.
Anong stake ng gobyerno rito?
Lahat naman yan, sir. Siyempre, we're looking forward for the completion of, kumbaga, sir, a milestone for this peace process. So yung OPAPRO, sir, as the lead in this, lagi naman, sir, ang AFP po part of all of this mga task forces, and kung paano magiging deployment ng AFP, sir, nandyan naman po tayo, sir, for full support, sir.
Alright, almost 4 decades na ho na ako mismo ay nag-o-observe from afar, sometimes nandoon. Batang-batang reporter ho ako nung sinama kami ni Senate President Pro Tempore Tito Ginggona, a Mindanaoan, to observe the first plebiscite on the organic law for Muslim Mindanao. That was in 1989 or 1990. Pagsakay namin with Colonel Task Force Diamond kay Colonel Nali, pag-akyat namin, kasama ko si Linda Humilla o ABS-CBN Philippine Daily Inquirer, sila Arnold Clavio, kami yung mga batang-batang Senate reporter doon. Therefore, sinama kami ni Senator Tito Ginggona, the father, not the son. Pag-akyat pa lang namin, pinaulan na kami ng putok. So yung Task Force Diamond, so nilimit namin sa Lanao Sur ang pinuntahan namin. Mula noon hanggang ngayon, laging concern natin kapag may electoral process na ginagawa ang gobyerno para sa kanila. Pero mula noon hanggang ngayon, medyo nabago na siya. Marami ng kalsada, marami ng television sets ang mga bahay, and therefore hindi na sila yung tipong na sa armed forces lang kumukuha ng information o kung sino man ang sultan or head ng area na yon. Ngayon, democratized na ang decision making sapagkat yung information overflowing na sa kanila. Pero Secretary Bert, I've seen you how you commented, made public statements on our Muslim brothers and sisters in Mindanao. Anong stake sa kanila ngayon? If there are 1, 2, 3 things that the national government should be reminded, why should the BARM elections should be peaceful and acceptable to the stakeholders? The results.
I think yung idea ng peaceful elections will be no problem.
All right.
Because I think the people who would normally do the trouble do not like it anymore. So yung peaceful elections walang problem.
Because of the aging na rin.
Aging, at saka pero ito, alam mo, what we have to see is yung aging na mga commanders ng MN at saka ng MI, may mga anak yan.
Tsaka nabago na yung mindset.
May mga anak yan. Pero yung mga anak naman ay highly educated from the best universities that our country offers. No? Pero that's not the point. Medyo very troubled ang BARM elections ngayon. I think the intensity of the trouble can be comparable, I think, to the time when the war started with the Muslims. Hindi ko lang alam kung mag-gera ulit o hindi. But the intensity of the protest has to be taken well into consideration. Alam mo, ang nagre-reklamo ay yung MNLF at saka yung MILF. Both of them are now complaining. I think, if you look at last week ba ito, 400,000 Moros march in their streets. 400,000 is monumental in a place like Cotabato. But they were there. At ang nagre-reklamo...
Hindi ba positive yun, if I may? Hindi ba positive yun? Instead na armas at imbes na we manage surprises later on, inilabas na nila kung ano ang hinaing nila.
Yes.
Should it be taken positively?
I am taking it positively. Okay. I was happy with them. Kasi ang importante lang, I think we have to review a little bit of our history. Alam mo, the MNLF and the MILF were claiming for the same territory in the Bangsamoro region.
Well, sapagkat dati naman ay iisa sila.
That's why. No? Pero yan ang claim is the same. That's why when I was a little bit part of this negotiation, we say that the first phase of the negotiation should be between the MNLF and the MILF. They have to reconcile what they want.
Are you referring to 1976 or 96?
Oh, farther than the panahon ni Cory. Panahon ni Cory yung importante dyan. Hindi yan natupad. No? Hindi nagkausap MNMI. Ang naging nangyari dyan, palitan. Na unang MNLF and then MILF. Pero both, I think, are, masasabi natin, both were corrupt to a level. No? Corrupt talaga yan. Hindi nabigyan ng benepisyo ang Bangsamoro.
Secretary Bert, we have limited time, but can you define the issues? Why you think this one, well, in your thinking, this is some skirmishes or could possibly be a flashpoint by September 2026?
Well, nagre-reklamo ang MILF. Sinusuportahan ng MNLF because to their mind, binamanipulate ang incoming election. Ipinipilit ng ating government na may mga elect na grupo nakapartner ng Malacanang. Imagine removing Haji Murad.
Yeah, I heard that, but is that a credible information, sir?
Yes. I would,
okay, so
my reputation.
So yung tanong dito, what must be done? Doon tayo sa solusyon. What must be done?
Mag-dialogue ng gusto. We have a new OPA Pro.
Yes.
OPA Pro. Call the leadership of the MN and the MI. Kasi ngayon, ang nagrereklamo MI, quietly on the side, the MNLF is complaining because kami talaga ang pinanggalingan ng mga agreements today. Ang MILF ang nakikinabang, pero ang nangyari yung MILF, pinalitan ng bago na grupo na ang tingin nila hindi na galing. Of course, yung Prime Minister ngayon is also commander in the past. Pero ang inire-represent is ang pinag-aawayan niya.
Yes. You know exactly kung ano yung representation. So, yung elected and based on political party. Doon tayo sa based on political representations or sectoral representations. Yun ang pinag-aawayan nila.
Ang pinag-aawayan nila, hindi natatakot ang MILF or MNLF in an open and honest election. They're not afraid of that. They will hold their ground if they have to. Kaya lang, yung parang paborito ng ating government, I'm sorry, really sorry to say this, medyo tinitingnan ng mandadaya yan. Maraming pera yan. Alam mo, tapos...
Sir, are you saying may kandidato ang gobyerno?
Meron.
Administration candidate. Are you referring
candidate. Maybe not official, but known by everyone in the Bangsamoro region.
Is this the candidate of the Special Assistant to the President?
Yes.
And you're saying this is causing trouble for the national government?
Yes.
Kung ikaw ay ang Pangulo at nakamonitor ang ating Pangulo, anong dapat yung gawin?
Mr. President, let's give the Moros an opportunity to decide among themselves.
A free hand.
A free hand.
That's That's a general statement. But still a good statement. Pero can you be more specific? Kung gusto mo pala. Kung gusto mo lang. Kung may binanggit na ako, may tinanong na ako. Akala ko sasabihin mo.
Kung ayaw niyang i-dismiss yung kanyang assistant doon sa barn, pagbakasuhin niya lang sandali until the election is over.
I'm sure you know Mindanao very well, no? And politics at the same time. Yung nakaraang elections in 2025, kung ano nangyari roon sa administration, are you saying posibleng mangyari ngayon? Ulitin ko. In 2025 senatorial elections, murdered, massacred national candidates ng gobyerno. Are you saying, based on the data that you know, your conversations with all groups, lalo na yung mga scholars, I know, you know many of them, are you saying there's going to be a repeat of history if nothing has changed?
Well, there has always been a repeat of history when it comes to our elections. And they are not doing our country right. Alam mo, mature na, especially, dapat matuwa tayo sa Bangsamoro.
Pero nakita nyo yung
politically mature.
Pero nakikita nyo yung mga profiles sa mga kandidato, progressive, magagaling. May magagandang background
Lalo na yung mga anak.
May mga magagandang background, educational, professional qualifications, magagaling. Well, I'm not going to campaign. No? May isa ron na ka-alumni ko sa East-West Center sa University of Hawaii. Ang galing, mahusay. Is currently one of the ministers, di ba? Magagaling na yung mga bata Mga magagaling na tayo. Hindi ba manu-neutralize yung perception ninyo?
Well, ang perception ko is kaya-kaya ng Bangsamoro na mag-elect ng tunay na leader nila.
And that should be the national interest.
That should be in the national
And that should be the national calling?
Sana. Kung pwede sana na isuspende muna natin. Hindi. I'm not suspending people.
Akala ko suspend the election.
Hindi. Suspendihin lang natin yung mga normal na ginagawa natin pag-eleksyon.
Are you saying that the human face of some trouble, as you defined it, medyo tabi mo na?
Oo.
Sometimes sabi ni Dr. Orly Mercado, we are governed by symbolism. So kung ang symbolism ay katulad ng aktibong spokesperson with 3 master's degrees at naiintindihan niya, may technical expertise, symbolism yan ng mukha ng armed forces. And you're saying in the BARM elections, as to the government sa administration side, kung ang symbolism na will cause trouble, you're saying, tabi mo na.
Tabi mo na sandali. Bayaan mo yung tatlo na there are 3 major contenders there.
I have to ask you, you know, is the national government capable of doing that?
No. Sorry. Maybe the military.
So which means, tuloy-tuloy lang. So itong kung anong nakikita mong trouble, kung anong nakikita mong posibleng scenario, yun ang nakikita mo. Boss, next week we'll give opportunity to our expert person from NDCP alumni, si MP Ambuludto, maging guest natin para makuha natin yung side. In fact, marami ho tayong kaibigan dyan, including, siguro, I'll invite my former chair of the National Youth Commission, Amina Rasul Bernardo. Siya ang namumuno ng Muslim Christian Democratic organizations. Part siya ng think tank na nagpapaliwanag ng mga ganito. Promise, next Saturday. Kasi ayoko namang puro si Secretary Bert ang narinig ninyo tungkol dyan.
But I will feel very good with the 2 names you mentioned.
Yes.
They know the situation.
Tsaka very objective, di ba?
Yeah, they
very
know
objective.
I know both of them.
Alright.
They're good.
Yes. Substantially, mayroon na tayong content sa ban. Mamaya sa ating pagbabalik, si Secretary Bert pa rin, pero more on kay Colonel Francel Padilla na ang tanong natin. Anong approach ng national government, especially the Armed Forces Defense Establishment, the National Security Cluster, kapag yung mga retired officers ay masyadong vocal and sometimes bordering into inciting people to take arms or withdraw mass support, anong dapat gawin ng national government? Ano ang ginagawa? Paano tinatrato yan ng Armed Forces of the Philippines? Ilan mo ng palala?
Tumunog na ang gandingan para sa kalikasan. Ang
nagkamit ng parangal bilang Best News Anchor ay walang iba kundi si Angelo Palmones ng Magandang Umaga Pilipinas, DZRH Radio 666 kHz.
Magandang araw mga kaibigan. Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Makuhay Lizalde, na nag-aanyaya sa inyong samahan kami at ang aming mga espesyal na panauhin para sa kalahating oras ng masayang kwentuhan sa aming programang Art to Art, kung saan ang usapang sining at kultura ay para sa lahat. Huwag kaliligtaan, tuwing linggo, alas 3:30 ng hapon, dito lamang sa DZRH Radio, DZRH TV, at via online streaming.
Check na araw mga health checkers.
Ang mabuting balita ng ating Panginoon.
Kasama pa rin ang ating mga eksperto.
Ito po ang inyong balerina ng bayan, si Lisa Makuhay Lizalde.
Ito po ang Radio Henyo sa DZRH. Una po ng isang magandang hapon.
Curious ka ba sa maraming bagay? Kami na ang bahala dyan. Aalamin, tutuklasin at bibigyang linaw namin ang mga katanungang bumabagabag sa inyong isipan. Sa programa kung saan ang bawat sagot ay galing lamang sa mga eksperto. Ang Expert's Opinion, tuwing linggo alas 3 ng hapon, dito lang sa DZRH TV.
Kung good vibes ang hanap mo, dito ka na sa sigurado! Mula sa mga istoryang nagbibigay ng inspirasyon hanggang sa mga kwentong may dalang solusyon. Mga balitang pampagaan, pakiramdam at pampaganda ng araw. Hindi lang basta good news, kundi the better news. Mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, 1:00 ng tanghali sa DZRH TV.
Check na araw mga health checkers.
Pilipinas, Metro and Mega Manila, it's the midweek Wednesday.
Malusog na gabi po, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao.
Magandang evening, Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao.
Kayong salamat sa inyong pagpaminaw, pagtanaw.
Tuloy-tuloy ang pagtulong, tuloy-tuloy ang pagseserbisyo at tuloy-tuloy ang balitaan kasama si May Binauhan sa Operation Tulong mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Nakarinig lang ako ng bola sa court, takbo na ako dun sa... Sobrang grateful ko nung time na yon, dream come true para sa akin. So sa isip ko lang nun, di ko to sasayangin. Dream ko to eh. Tapos yun na din, nakakatulong na ako sa family ko. Kasi ako lang din yung breadwinner eh. Ako yung panganay. Tapos nasa college pa yung mga kapatid ko. Yun ang tulong-tulong lang din sa kanila. Pero ngayong conference, yun mas dodoblehin pa namin ang trabaho namin. Hi, I'm JB Bahio from NLEX Road Warriors. Panoorin ang aking interview sa Matchpoint. Mabuhay ang atletang Pilipino.
This Saturday on Scene Zone, chikahan with indie darling Clara Benin at rewind din tayo sa Senti Feels na hatid ng kanyang Really Got Me Thinking concert.
kilalanin ang US OPM girl group na May May, humandang ma-LSS sa kanilang debut single na Telebong. Alas 12 ng tanghali, dito lang sa DZRH.
Administrator. Alright, last part ng ating palatuntunan special on Saturday. Ang panauhin ho natin ay mga taga NDCP Alumni Association sa pangunguna ni Attorney and Judge Joy Torres, ang Pangulo ng NDCP Alumni Association, at ang aming Executive Vice President, si Dr. Aldrin Cunha, member ng board si Dr. Ronald Narbata, at of course, dalawang members ng board ay moderator natin, si Colonel Vlad Bata at si Commodore Jerry. Commodore Jerry, may kalabisan ba? Very brief lang. May kalabisan ba yung mga namomonitor mo kung ano man ang grupo nila sa mga statements nila? I'm referring to retired officers commenting on national politics, policies, and issues, sometimes presidential issues. Okay lang ba? Part ng democracy, they are civilian. Ano tingin niyo?
They're already civilian, pero hindi sila lahat pare-pareho kahit na puro retired sila. The sentiment is not solid. Magkakaiba sila ng pananaw. Because I used to be the president of the Alumni Service Academies, composing of PMA, PNPA, PMMA, Flying School, and I'm with the presidents of their Alumni Association as chairman for 2 years.
You're saying diverse?
Diverse.
All right. Colonel Vlad, yung bang mga namomonitor mo mga statements sa mga retired?
I don't want to comment on that muna kasi ako yung acting OIC Sergeant at Arms ngayon ng Commission of Appointments. So, wag na muna tayo.
Nako, ikaw pala ang acting.
Yes, sir.
So pinalitan mo si General Aplaska
sa Commission of Appointments.
Sa Commission on Appointments.
Yeah.
All right, okay, all right. Sige. Very brief. Are you free to comment? Are you privy to comment on that?
Pass muna.
Okay, pass muna tayo. Siyempre hindi ko tatanungin si Judge Joy. Baka mamaya may kaso na mapunta sa kanya. So, alright. Secretary Bert, ang daming komento, flood control, other issues, no? On national government. Active ngayon ang mga retired officers ng Armed Forces of the Philippines. Good or bad? Or do we need it? Necessary evil? Part of educating our people, and therefore they are relevant or they are necessary in this society. Anong tingin ho ninyo?
Well, katulad ng sinabi again, no? Diverse, walang united position ang retired general sa ngayon. You know, during my time in office, ang sinasabi namin sa yung the possibility na baka magkudita, etc. Ang sinasabi namin, if you will launch a coup, make sure it is better to succeed than to fail. Yun ang sinasabi namin sa armed forces. Kung magkuku kayo, make sure you succeed. Kasi pag you succeed, at least may makikita tayong semblance ng order sa bansa.
May attempt ba na mag-coup?
Wala. Sa tingin ko wala.
Kung may mag-attempt, magsasucceed?
I don't think so also. Because they're not united. Alam mo na, apektuhan din naman. Ang armed forces, I think, which is a safe position, they will follow the chain of command.
Which means, logically, I need to ask this question. Ano ang influence ng mga retired officials ng armed forces sa mga active officers ngayon?
As of now, medyo naka-float pa rin na konti kasi hindi pa nagkakasundo. Pag nagkasundo-sundo, then I think that will be another opinion from me.
Remember, the 5 coup attempts that I covered during the time of President Cory Aquino, largely, ang coup attempt is from within. The likes of Rex Robles, Gringo Honasan, Rex Kapunan, Dado Valeroso, Danny Javier, Captain Danny Javier, YOU, Soldiers of the Filipino People, hindi masyadong retired. I am saying that because history-wise, ang armed forces within itself, a soldier within a soldier, an organization within an organization is capable of making decision. Well, merong influence ang retired, but otherwise they were able to decide on their own. I need to distinguish that kasi kaya ko tinanong ho, ano ba ang influensya ng retired general sa mindset, opinion lifestyle ng mga active
May
officers.
mga personalities na pwede, na tingin ko pakikinggan. There are certain personalities among the retired that can be listened to. Yan, pwedeng mangyari yan. But kung sasabihin mo, ang lessons namin na iniwan sa Armed Forces, lagi nyo susundin ang inyong chain of command. Kung magkukudita kayo, kasama din ang chain of command. Kasi the time that Angie Reyes joined, successful. Diba? Lahat ng times na kasama ang chain of command, successful. All the rest, failure. Kasi naghahati ang Armed Forces.
The withdrawal of support. Paano nyo tinatrato ito? Yung mga political comments ng mga retired sa Armed Forces?
Una sa lahat, sir, ito pong mga retired na to, we treat them as civilians na po.
Okay.
But nandun pa rin po yung respeto namin bilang nakasama namin sila noon. They have served.
At naglingkod sa bayan.
Nag-serve naman po sila during their time. But of course, we have to consider po that there are modern and contemporary modern challenges that we are facing. And we leave it to our ground commanders currently that they also have their own decisions and they see the situation on the ground. So andyan po yung tiwala natin dyan. But we still take advice from our retired po. Pangalawa, sir, not one person from the retired can represent the whole retired na pool po, no? So meron po tayong Association of General and Flag Officers. 1,000 po yung membro nito. So yun nga sabi nila, sir, iba-iba po yung opinions. We also have to look into those who are speaking, yung moral ascendancy din po nila, no, to influence us. Kasi syempre, nakasama din po natin sila nun. We also know their backgrounds from way back. So we are weighing all of these things po. So but we're listening. We are, of course, doing due diligence to look into the issues na sinasabi, meron naman po tayong ginawa dyan. In fact, when we look at the Armed Forces now, as we evolve into a professional organization, kasama po yung unit, sir. So, tinitweak natin siya kung ano po yung hinaharap natin na challenges ngayon. That's why we have been creating new units in the Armed Forces. So, meron na po tayong Intelligence Command kasi nakita natin na malaki yung titignan natin, sir, paano natin haharapin yan. We have now the Cyber Command. We have the Strategic Command kasi nga, sir, nakita din na si CS pala pagka nagkagulo, hati siya. Kasi he's advising the President and still being the lead dito. Kaya nagkaroon po ng bagong command para po hindi mangyari yon in this eventuality. So, we are evolving, sir, and we are maturing as an organization. We're getting there. Of course, this is a work in progress and we value po yung advice and recommendations from our retired po.
Alright, susunod sa ating palatuntunan bago sa closing statement ay si Attorney Boying Rimulya, si Attorney Dudu Dulay at Ed Javier at iba pang mga kasama. Senator JB ay kasama 9 to 10:30. Pero bago natin pasalamatan, thank you gentlemen and lady and gentlemen and lady. Bigyan natin ng thank you sa mga nakinig sa atin at sumubaybay sa ating palatuntunan special on Saturday ngayong umagang ito. Yan po ay hatid ng National Defense College of the Philippines Alumni Association. For a closing statement, Judge Joy Torres, ang Pangulo ng NDCP Alumni Association. Judge.
Thank you.
Thank you, President, former President Chavez, Dr. Chavez. I'd like to acknowledge all those who have helped out in convening this our annual defense forum. And thank you for giving us this platform here. Malawak at malaki ang reach ng DZRH, kaya malaking bagay po ito sa amin. And I'd like to acknowledge all those who are present here and who have supported us, our Secretary General, EVP Aldrin Cunha, and Sir Ronald Navata, the Chair of our Education Committee, Attorney Marie Gonzalez Molina, Chair of our Awards Committee, and our fellow alumnus, Dr. Rodney Hagolino. And of course, our host, our Vice President of the Alumni Association, Sir Colonel Vladimir Mata, and Sir Commodore Jerry Simon, also a member, the Chair of our Membership Committee. And of course, our guests, friends of the alumni, we have Secretary Norberto Gonzalez. Maraming salamat po, sir. Commodore Joel Abutal of PMMA, and Colonel Franzel Padilla of the AFP. Of course, my predecessor in the NDCP AAI, President Emeritus Dr. CESAR CHAVEZ. Maraming salamat po. This was a very robust and dynamic conversation on different issues affecting our national security and national interests. And of course, to our listeners, nationwide, global, maraming salamat po.
Alright, subay nyo ating palatuntunang special on Saturday. Ako po si CESAR CHAVEZ.
Maagang balitaan, maagang usapan sa mga issue at balita. Kasama si Kuya Angelo Palmones sa Magandang Umaga Pilipinas. Mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes.
Is present in this meeting today, in this hearing today. The respondent is not present.
Let it be placed on record that COMSEC called again the Vice President, that is for the purpose of giving her the opportunity to present her evidence.
The impeachment is a process that seeks to exact accountability.